Why are men not confident enough to walk up to women now?
Why is it that men nowadays, when it comes to dating, they don't believe in pursuing a woman, aka chasing a woman? What is the big issue with a man pursuing a woman?
Because I am in a room of like 100 men, and not one of them has approached.
Guys don't even come up to you anymore. They'll just stare at you from a distance. If God were to guarantee that your 20th person would be the love of your life, you would be so happy to be rejected by all 19. So why are men not confident enough to walk up to women?
Something has shifted in a way that nobody saw coming. Senior men, men who spent decades being the ones who showed up, who approached, who initiated, who pursued, who put themselves out there over and over again, regardless of the outcome, are stopping. Quietly and without announcement, they are pulling back from the entire process of approaching women, and most people have absolutely no idea why. This is not about fear. This is not about inability. This is not about a group of men who gave up because things got difficult. This is about a generation of men who have lived long enough to do the math and decided the numbers no longer add up. And once you hear these 10 reasons, you will never look at a senior man the same way again. Here are 10 brutal reasons why.
A lot of men have an idea why, as to why they're not approaching.
Number 1, the risk is no longer worth the reward. There was a time when approaching a woman was simply part of life. You saw someone interesting, you walked over, you introduced yourself, and whatever happened next was between two adults. Simple, natural, human. But senior men have watched that dynamic transform into something unrecognizable. An unwanted approach is now a potential public humiliation. A misread signal is now a social catastrophe. And a man in his 60s who approaches the wrong woman in the wrong setting risks his reputation, his dignity, and in some cases his career or social standing. The potential downside has grown so large and the potential upside has shrunk so significantly that for many men, the math simply stopped making sense a long time ago.
I think it's just men in general, and I guess it's who you're approaching, how strong you're coming off. But yeah, this is the generation now of the internet era, bro. TikTok era, Instagram era, so.
And no amount of courage changes the math. Number 2, they have been rejected one too many times for things they cannot change. Height, hair, age, income level during the years when income was still being built. Senior men carry decades of rejection for things that were never within their control.
100%, and I think you see this a lot on dating shows. Like, watch those pop the balloon dating shows. A lot of the time, 90% of the men that come out, they are getting rejected based on their height alone. Just surface-based level rejections.
And after a certain number of years, the cumulative weight of that rejection does not make a man angry. It makes him quiet. It makes him selective. It makes him look at the process of approaching and decide that protecting what little confidence he has left is more valuable than risking it on another interaction that was never going to end well, regardless of what he said or how he said it. There is only so many times a man can be told he is not enough before he stops volunteering for the experience.
That's a really fair point, man. Like, how many times are you gonna take rejections and keep going back and back and back to keep facing the same thing, right? So also at the same time, I feel like, if you're getting a lot of rejection, there is something wrong with you, maybe you're not their type, maybe, I don't know, the way you're dressed, your teeth, the way you smell, something is turning off the women. That's also another thing to consider.
Number 3, they watch what happened to other men who tried. Senior men have decades of observation behind them. They have watched friends get publicly embarrassed for approaching women in ways that were perfectly normal 20 years ago. They have watched good men get labeled and dismissed for showing genuine interest. They have watched the rules change so many times that nobody can agree on what the rules actually are anymore. And a man who has spent 60 years watching carefully knows that when the game keeps changing and the penalty for losing keeps getting worse, the smartest move is sometimes to stop playing entirely and redirect that energy somewhere it will actually be appreciated and reciprocated.
You gotta realize maybe you're approaching the wrong age group, right? Like, I mean, if you're like a senior man, let's talk about this video. You're a senior man and you're going after a specific demographic and you're getting turned down. Maybe it's the location you're at or the type of woman you're approaching. They're just not your type as well. But I gotta agree, 20 years ago, you could just simply meet somebody, get to know them, talk to them face to face. Nowadays, it's the era of like social media, texting. You gotta make 20 phone calls. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but you get the point.
Number 4, they no longer believe the effort will be reciprocated. One of the quietest and most devastating realizations a senior man can have is looking back at decades of initiating, planning, pursuing, and investing, and recognizing that almost none of it was ever truly matched by the other side. He approached. He planned. He called first. He followed up. He made the reservation. He remembered the details. And somewhere along the way, he realized that if he ever stopped doing all of those things, the whole thing would simply collapse because nobody on the other side was ever going to pick up the weight. That realization does not leave a man. It follows him into every new situation and quietly asks whether this time will actually be any different. And after enough times of the answer being no, a man stops asking the question entirely. Number 5, their time has become the most valuable thing they own. At 60, 65, 70 years old, a man understands something about time that younger men cannot fully grasp yet. He does not have an unlimited supply of it anymore. Every hour spent on an approach that goes nowhere, every evening invested in a connection that leads nowhere, every emotional deposit made into something that returns nothing is an hour, an evening, and an investment that he is never getting back. Senior men are not being cold when they protect their time. They are not being difficult or closed off. They are being honest about the one resource that nobody can earn more of, regardless of how hard they work or how much they are willing to sacrifice. Time is the one currency that stops accumulating, and senior men know exactly what it is worth.
I think younger folks have such a bad sense of time and keep wasting their life away not knowing that time is creeping by, right? So especially dating, man, how many times have you guys seen these younger dudes, not only younger but just dudes in general, keeping chasing the wrong kinds of women and getting in crazy situations because of women and dating, so I think as an older man, especially on this video, they talk about senior men. So of course senior men have lived, right? So of course they have a lot of experience. So they already know. They're at the end of their time. And you as a young man, you're in the middle of your time. So they know well.
Number 6, the dating landscape feels completely foreign to them. Apps, algorithms, swipe culture, situationships, talking stages. The modern dating landscape was not built for senior men, and most of them know it. They grew up in a world where you met someone through a friend, through work, through a community, through a shared experience. You looked them in the eye and you figured it out from there. The current system feels transactional, shallow, and deliberately designed to make them feel invisible. And after spending a lifetime building real things in the real world, the idea of reducing themselves to a profile picture and a bio feels like an insult to everything they have become and everything they have survived to get here. They were not built for this world, and this world was not built for them.
And that's why those were the glorious times, right? Back in the days when these apps were not available. Nowadays, man, people are just on dating apps quickly. People are cheating through apps. It's so easy for you to just have a fight with your wife, girlfriend, and boom, they download the app, boom, they're already with somebody else in less than 10 hours.
Number 7, they have finally found peace and do not want to risk it. This one is the most underrated reason on this entire list. Senior men who have walked away from bad relationships, survived difficult divorces, and rebuilt their lives from the ground up have found something that took decades to arrive. Peace, real peace. The kind that fills a room quietly and does not ask for anything in return. The kind that lets a man sleep through the night without dreading what tomorrow will bring. And the idea of introducing a new dynamic into that peace, of risking the stability they fought so hard to create, of potentially going back to the walking on eggshells and the emotional unpredictability and the constant performance, is enough to make any man reconsider the entire thing before he even takes the first step towards someone new. Number 8, they have stopped seeking external validation. Younger men approach partly out of genuine interest and partly out of a deep need to be chosen, to be seen, to be validated by someone else's attraction. Senior men who have done the inner work have largely moved past that need. They no longer require someone else's approval to feel complete. They no longer measure their worth by whether someone responds positively to their approach. And when you remove the need for validation from the equation, the entire motivation for approaching changes completely. What used to feel urgent no longer feels necessary. What used to feel like rejection now just feels like information. Useful, neutral, and completely manageable without falling apart over it. Number 9, they have learned to read the dynamic before engaging. Senior men are not naive. They have lived long enough to recognize a dynamic that is going nowhere before it even starts. They can see within the first few minutes of an interaction whether genuine interest is present or whether something else is driving the energy. They can feel the difference between warmth and strategy, between curiosity and calculation, between someone who sees them and someone who sees what they represent. And once you develop that level of discernment, the pool of people worth approaching shrinks dramatically. Not because the men have become bitter, but because they have become wise enough to stop wasting their energy on situations that were never going to be what they needed. Discernment is not cynicism. It is the reward for surviving enough of the wrong situations to finally recognize the right one. Number 10, they have realized that the right woman will make it easy.
Important point there, like the right person will make it easy. Like a lot of people are putting so much effort and energy, they're extremely wasting it on people that are uninterested on them. It's always like that. You got one person who's heavily interested and the other person not interested. The guy that's heavily interested is doing everything in his powers to get with that not interested person, you know. So I think you gotta also start going after people who match your vibe, people who are on your frequency, people who are gonna give you the time of day and who are gonna make it easier for you and not make you run around like you're in a circus, you know.
Half the girls here, when you go approach them or you talk to them, they have their heads up their ass and they already have an ego. Like 5 or 6 out of 10, they think they're like, you know, they're God's gift to this world, but in reality, they're not much at all, you know what I mean? Because unfortunately, the Melbourne dating scene, like good-looking guys, decent-looking guys will put their dick in anything, and then females feel like they use that as validation. They feel like they actually deserve those kind of guys. But at the end of the day, the guys just want to get their dick wet, and you know, and it makes it harder for actually the guys who actually want something serious. You know what I mean?
That is a very valid and true point. Yes, I do know a lot of guys that are just out here. They're not after anything serious.
Yes.
And so that kind of fucks it up for the guys that are after something a bit more genuine.
Definitely.
Whereabouts are you from?
I'm from Melbourne. My background's Persian. Currently single, unfortunately. It's a rough life out there at the moment, but yeah, single.
100%, I agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah? There you
Yeah,
go.
it's a fucking brutal world out there if you're single, especially living here in Australia.
The only way to meet people these days, unless you go out often, is through apps and dating apps and everything. Doesn't feel genuine. Like, it's just sucks ass, to be honest.
So you feel like dating apps is a waste of time?
It is a complete waste of time. You just go on by someone's photos and like what they say about themselves, and you don't really get in like deep, meaningful conversations, and not much substance. You know what I mean?
So what's funny, most people don't even get through that whole conversation, bro. That conversation dies after a day or two. She starts replying, she deletes her profile or something, or you know, she deletes you, blocks you, something. You know, it never makes it out of the apps. Rarely makes it out of the apps. And then if it does make it out of the apps, maybe it's that occasional one that you go on and they never see you again.
That's why we're here at the Latin Festival. Are you into Latinas or like have you?
I'm pretty open, to be honest. It's kind of, I'm attracted to different cultures, but it's about energy and like, you know, what I feel when I'm speaking to someone, when I meet someone.
There's a big debate on the internet right now. Australian guys actually don't approach women anymore.
Yeah.
And so they're like, well, Aussie guys are lazy, laid back, and it's frustrating. All us single women are out here, we're not getting approached. Why do you think that might be, if you have a perspective or answer on that?
The girls here, like, maybe their body language or their energy doesn't seem like they want to be approached.
Yeah.
So maybe then guys kind of hold back and don't approach them.
Yeah.
And maybe because guys have gone through the dating and everything, like, oh, it's not worth it. Like, what's this girl going to give me? Like, in reality, besides looks and everything, there's not much substance to these females these days, to be quite honest with you, from what I've gone through. But then again, I'm newly single. What would I know?
What would you say to women to become a lot more approachable, for guys like us to want to feel comfortable to approach them?
Infectious energy, like positivity, like maybe just have a smile on your face half the time and don't have a resting bitch face, look like you want to kill someone. So when a guy actually comes up to you, they don't feel like you don't want to talk to them. Do you know what I mean? That's probably, a lot of them have frowns or they look unhappy. So like You're like, what's the point of approaching? Do you know what I mean?
Don't have a resting bitch face, smile, look like you're approachable, and who knows, a nice guy like this would come up to you and be genuine and actually maybe take you out on a date.
You're very lucky. Yes, that is. Yes.
If you're very lucky.
He said a lot of other guys are out there looking for nothing serious, right? And then they'll meet a woman, maybe she's looking for something serious, they loop her around, and at the end they break her heart or whatnot, you know, and she's going to translate that energy to the next guy she meets. Now the next guy is probably looking for something serious, and then now because the previous guy ruined it, now he's getting the short end of the stick, right? So it's the same thing.
Why are men not confident enough to walk up to women now? See, shout out to the guys who are confident enough to walk up to women. The masculinity on earth has diminished drastically that guys don't even come up to you anymore. They'll just stare at you from a distance. As a woman who's trying to embody her feminine energy, you're not going to catch me going up to the guy. You're just not. We can just stare at each other. See, shout out to the guys who are confident enough to walk up to women, because guys don't do that anymore. If God were to guarantee that your 20th person would be the love of your life, you would be so happy to be rejected by all 19. So why are men not confident enough to walk up to women now?
I think this logic is good when it comes to other things, like making money or whatnot, right? But when it comes to like chasing a person, imagine you chasing 20 people, 50 people, 100 people before you meet the one for you. You know how much exhaustion that is, right? Like who can sit there and say no, and it's not just a no, you guys. It's not just like, oh no, sorry. No, it's not just like that polite no. It's the worst version of it, you know. You're getting flamed online, things are getting misinterpreted, they're viewing you as a creep. Maybe some of them are even alerting security, or it's like, you know what I'm saying, she refuses to approach but she wants the men to approach her. Like, we already know women don't really approach, but at the same time, what's wrong with you approaching somebody you like as well? Like, if you see a man, you fancy him, what's wrong with you going and getting his number or giving your number to him or something like that?
We don't chase, we signal. Like, you can come up to me now, but all men do is just look at you now. And of course, like, if the woman is interested, she's gonna keep looking your way too, but it just like stays like that. Nothing ever happens because men don't walk up to women anymore, or they're just tired of being rejected. But it's like, if God were to tell you that you're gonna go through 20 rejections before you get to your yes, and that's gonna be the love of your life, you guys would be so happy to go through all 20 because you would just be so closer to the love of your life. Come on guys, you guys gotta do better.
This is my proof that I think that the population is gonna slowly decline, because I am in a room of like 100 men, and not one of them has approached. I just think men this day and age don't want to date.
I just find it so shocking how this room is literally filled with men to the brim. I haven't seen any other women, just her and like 100 men, and I never even seen a single one look at her. That's crazy.
So not one guy found you attractive that night, and you decided to get on the internet and tell that to people. Are you not embarrassed to do that? This is something you should just go home and not even mention to anybody, because clearly it's a big deal to you, to the point where you took out your phone in the middle of the event and recorded yourself with your flash on to complain about the guys not trying to talk to you. Listen, sometimes you're gonna go out. In the room that you're in, the people do not find you attractive. But you might go out the next night and you might get 5 different people that are interested in you. And that's okay. But don't always feel entitled to everyone walking up to you. Not everyone finds everyone attractive. And again, that's okay. Just put the phone down and enjoy yourself and go home.
I got a question for the fellas, because I'm trying to understand the dynamic now and how all this got misconstrued. Why is it that men nowadays, when it comes to dating, they don't believe in pursuing a woman, aka chasing a woman? What is the big issue with a man pursuing a woman? I don't just mean you making the first move. I mean like you actively pursuing this woman, calling her, texting her, planning dates. Why is it now we're in this day and age where men are like, oh, you could call me, oh, I was waiting on you to call me, I was waiting on you to text me, I was waiting on you to make the first move? For what? Criticize me all y'all want, but I am an old-fashioned girly. I was raised by my grandmothers. I believe in the old school ways and how things are supposed to go. If you that type of man where you think you are the prize, honestly, this video ain't for you, because I believe that women are the prize, because we're the ones that get chose. We're the ones that get picked. When a man findeth a wife, a man findeth a good thing. And I'm not even the type of woman to sit up here and think that I'm equal to a man. I think that a man is most definitely above me. My husband is for sure above me. Your heavenly father, your husband, everything else immediately after that. I'm not the one to sit up here and try to say I'm equal to a man and we on the same. No, we not. A man is above me. My husband is above me. So let's get that clear and out the way.
But the thing is, you may be one thing, but the other women are another thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might be a woman who believes in her role in the relationship. You believe your man is above you, but the other women don't. That's the issue, you know. And a lot of men are usually just, I think, dealing with a lot of handful of not so friendly women out there, you know, women that are doing way too much, women that are hot and cold, you know, they're done. They're so used to all these manipulation games, back and forth, texting, this and that, getting shamed for their height, their income. So I think like that probably has a role to play with it. Now,
my biggest issue that I have in my dating life is men are so lazy. I was waiting on you to call me. I was waiting on you to text me. No, sir. You asked me for my number. I gave it to you. It's up to you to call me, check on me, see how I'm doing. You're trying to get me. This is my thing. I don't ever make the first move on a man. I let men come get me. You want me? Come get me. If a man really wants you, he's going to come get you. It's not nothing extra I gotta do. It's not, no. If you want me, you're going to come get me. And the lesson that I learned in my previous relationships was never let a man tell you he don't want you more than once. So when I give you my number and you don't call me or you do all that, that's basically telling me you don't want me.
hence that's why they ask for your number, but they don't reach out because they're still trying to test the waters. You know, they don't want to come off too strong, they don't want to come off too soon, they gotta time it perfectly. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the thing you gotta do nowadays to date. You know, you gotta do so many things. You gotta come off almost perfect for you to go out with him, right?
Nothing pisses me off more than when a man that looks like the shit on the bottom of my shoe is like, hey, can I take you out? Now, I'm not gonna say I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, but I know I ain't ugly.
Hey, that's a little rough. Man that looks like that shit at the bottom of your shoe. Oh man. No wonder men are not approaching, bro. Like, I mean, you can't blame us, can you? Like, look at this.
And this is one of the reasons why women believe that men do not approach them anymore. Why men do not shoot their shot and ask women on dates anymore. You know you can reject a man without being rude, disrespectful, and harmful to somebody else's heart. You can sit there and tell someone respectfully, I'm not interested, but instead, you will do everything in your power to make that person feel as if they are insignificant. Just because somebody isn't attractive to you doesn't mean that they're not worthy of going after somebody. Although I don't believe this applies to all women, but there's women out there that speak on hating men, that men should leave them alone, that they should choose the bear over the man. So when a man chills out and he says, I don't want to deal with it anymore, y'all really be sitting over there wondering why men do not reach out to y'all. Men have to be vulnerable, men have to perform, men have to impress, and men have to chase/pursue just to see if a woman wants to give him an opportunity in the first place. And see, this is the thing. It's not that women don't want to be approached, it's that they want to be approached by the men that they want. But it doesn't work like that. And if you do want the man you want 100% of the time, then you're going to have to shoot your shot at the men that you want. But you're not going to do that because what if the man that you like doesn't like you back? You'll hear women say, oh, where's the guy who sets reservations, gets flowers, and picks me up on time? But there's plenty of men that would do that. But since you don't like them, you don't give them a chance. It's the fact that you want the man that doesn't like you, or the man that you like to do that, but he doesn't. So since he doesn't do it, you say, oh man, men are not romantic. Men don't show love. Men don't do this. No, it's the fact that the men that you want are not willing to do it. But the men that are willing to do it, you won't even give them a chance. So to my ladies, if you do want a man to approach you, be approachable, be kind, whether you like the man or you don't like him and you reject him, that's cool, but you don't have to be disrespectful. Give yourself an opportunity for the right man to come into your life and treat you right instead of giving yourself to people who are going to take you for granted.
Yeah, amen. Preach. That's definitely what it is. That's true. That's a fact. I think a man would actually appreciate getting rejected, but like getting rejected in a nice way as opposed to a rude way. You know, you guys seen those like crazy rejections where women are screaming at the guy, you know, throwing a glass of water, doing crazy stuff. You know, it happens, guys, you know, and the dude ends up getting so traumatized, he never approaches a woman a day in his life more.
I never approach because I know I cannot afford them. And it happened again yesterday with the finest girl I've ever seen. I really was thinking about shooting my shot, but then I noticed a few things about her. For one, she was wearing one of those fucking flower bracelets. $4,000 fucking dollars. Oh, Eric, what if it was fake? She was Armenian. I know that shit was real. Whatever though, I thought maybe it was a birthday present, maybe I still have a chance. I looked down at her sneakers because I saw they were a little bit dirty, so it gave me some hope. But they were the wrong kind of fucking dirty. $600 for dirty shoes. At this point, I know I'm done. Life isn't like Titanic, you know? Rich girl isn't like poor boy. I'm not poor, but I'm not her type of rich. But I was being delusional and still looking to see if her and I could be in the same tax bracket. I look to her right, and what do I see? $3,000 used. If I put this on, it better give me superpowers. At this point, I gave up. I see her walk away and leave, and what does she drive off in? One of these, wrapped in bright pink with a bedazzled license plate. You know what? I'm okay with it. There was no way I was ever going to give her the life that she needed. I will stick with my Volkswagen Jetta and Nissan Altima.
That's another reason as to why a lot of men are not approaching as well. This has to do with financial reason, right? The women they're going after are on a different tax bracket than they are, right? So obviously there's a lot of pressure now from their part, right? Even if they are to become something, become an item, they're gonna have to almost match her level, and of course it's gonna come with a headache, right? Because she's used to this type of lifestyle, she's trying to live this lifestyle, or she lives that type of lifestyle, and you, if you're living below her lifestyle and you're coming trying to date her, you're either gonna match her lifestyle or you're gonna outdo her lifestyle, if you know what I mean. There's a reason, I think, as to why you got all these NBA players going after all these IG influencers, or you got like the IG influencers going after the athletes, the rappers, the whatnot, right? Lifestyle they want, and these guys are the ones that can provide it, right? See a lot of women, you know, in college, whatever, they're out there on these sugar dating sites looking for sugar daddy to supply their lifestyle, right? Because the sugar daddy is obviously living way beyond her means, and that's the type of level she want to be at, right? So sometimes as a man, it's good to know where you stand, and I think that's why a lot of women or a lot of men out there are also not approaching. That's a really major reason out there. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think. Comment down below, why do you guys think men are not approaching? If you're a man, comment, why are you not approaching? Yeah, let me know. See you on the next one. Peace.